Today's video, an adventure you can't miss. Walter gambled everything, using a bag recoil to push the steel pipe. Next, the Otwo and Lake Water erupted majestically. Successfully relieved Lake Button pressure, but when things seemed smooth, the base's little mustache licked J.A. Tilda I am low letter chewy thermal imaging showed water was hotter. I bet he put water at the lake bottom. The mistake was hastening the carbon reaction and stirring up other lake bubbles. So Dan. Otherwise, the lake bottom will explode. Walter's team rushes to shut the valve, but it's stuck. A struggle ensues. The valve got dragged down instead. What a pickle. They were trying to prevent the disaster, but who knew it sped up the lake's explosion. At that moment, countless bubbles popped up on the surface, leaving everyone dumbfounded. The three scrabbled back to shore, relieved they weren't hurt. But the base sent bad news after the explosion. A giant gas cloud was coalescing towards the village, the legendary carbon dioxide cloud. As Baker Chewing and Little May urged villagers to leave, they realized everyone thought it was just a prank by the young. Walter's team arrived at the scene, and to prove disaster was imminent, he tied 2 handkerchiefs to the car hood, then triggered a flaming. They launched it with a giant slingshot over 666 meters, igniting a massive fireball instantly. As Walter's fire grew, the village youth geared up for action, but then, in a twist, the now raging flames were extinguished in an instant. The speed caught Walter off guard, and as they witnessed this, the villagers sprinted in the opposite direction. Lee remotely warned them. The gas cloud has you surrounded, and running the other way is a dead end. It's useless. Walter halted everyone. To survive, they must neutralize the gas. Big Jing had an idea. Magnesium sulfide. Magnesium sulfide reacts with carbon dioxide to produce oxygen, solving the crisis. But where to get it? Suddenly, Walter saw bright red roses in the graveyard. Keeping flowers vibrant needs salting with magnesium sulfide. The pastor's team said some bags are left in the shed. But now, the tricky part, how to get magnesium sulfide to the gas cloud center. Heavy loads can't be moved while holding breath long. Just then, an old man stepped up with his oxygen tank, and Buddy volunteered, had served in the Navy SEALs and had special training. Just 1 breath of pure oxygen, and he could hold his breath for a few minutes. No hesitation, Buddy gulped down a mouthful of pure oxygen. Then the two pushed the cart towards the carbon dioxide cloud, opened the magnesium sulfide compartment at the graveyard. Now it was all about endurance. If they couldn't hold their breath, they'd get flushed in a hurry. Seconds ticked away, and suddenly everyone noticed a strange sight in the sky. The deadly carbon dioxide cloud finally dissipated. Walter and Buddy survived miraculously. For a regular person to push dozens of kg across a football field without breathing is impossible. Yet everything somehow seemed perfectly reasonable in front of the Scorpion team, and just then, as everyone was about to step out to mingle, Dr. Lai from the CDC called in via video. It turned out there was an outbreak of a mosquito virus in a certain city. In one night, 1,300 known cases were reported, with 200 deaths. With a terrifying 20% mortality rate, the CDC had to keep this under wraps. Otherwise, locals fleeing in droves turn abandoned areas into mosquito paradise. Here, Aoi circumflex a stroke tilde letter 71 pound. Worse, it gets scarier. The rainy season was approaching, and the mosquito population would multiply exponentially. If this continued unchecked, the nation's population would plummet. While they'd managed to breed infertile male mosquitoes, the numbers were limited. The doctor wanted the Scorpion team to find the best spot to release. Arriving, the doctor gave the man cans. Walter quickly determined a wetland deep inside was the ideal release point. No time to waste. But on the way, the boat's little mustache suddenly got tangled in a necklace, losing balance in the process, and the canister containing the mosquitoes plopped into the water. They quickly returned, painstakingly locating it, but then trouble arose. The world-saving canister was swallowed by a crocodile. If they didn't retrieve it within 30 minutes, the mosquitoes would suffocate and die, and there would be no stopping the virus. Everyone looked forlorn, but then Walter suddenly remembered the crocodile's right eye swim lane. According to the wetland manager, the crocodile named Death Dagger can be tranquilized to retrieve the canister. They used a calculator, semiconductors, shut the engine, paddled quietly, and found Death Dagger at the strongest signal spot. Little Mustache and Morgan reached the shore, ready with the gear, but it seemed Death Dagger wasn't feeling too chilly. It casually glanced at them before sauntering away. But Walter's aim was almost cringeworthy, as he missed Death Dagger on the first shot. He quickly reloaded for a second attempt. Stupid crocodile. Did you get a lock on a target? That's not the one I shot at. It's firing back at me. This is not easy at all. Morgan hurriedly drew his knife to save Little Mustache. Coming back to himself, he realized he needed a plan. Now Morgan needs an antidote urgently. If poison affects his nervous system, he's in danger. The team split. Little Mustache took him back for treatment, while the other two trekked through 1.6 kilometers of swamp. Walter and Little May stayed behind to keep searching for the iron container. How would he wrest that canister from a crocodile's jaws? Walter suddenly recalled a plant called vomit grass, which could induce the crocodile to spit out that canister. He and Little May set off immediately, while Little Mustache struggled. The Terminator was like a mountain he couldn't carry on. Little Mustache resolved to fetch the antidote himself, but unfortunately, disaster struck when he let out stun. Morgan rushed to check. Little Mustache had sunk into quicksand. Morgan grabbed a branch but was too weak from tranquilizer. Unable to pull Little Mustache out, in desperation, he saw boulders and recalled flowing waters beneath quicksand. There might be an escape to the water stone. He sent Morgan for heavy stones to sink fast and escape before suffocating. A few minutes later, Morgan finally returned just as Little Mustache was about to sink fully. Luckily, at a critical moment, the tranquilizer worked. Morgan fell into quicksand, though it counted. Little Mustache could only tweak.